Hi, ladies and gentlemen. How you guys doing? Thank you and for everything. And I skipped yesterday because I want to take a day off. This week, I think I'm going to do 3 or 4 days straight, and then upload so that all my viewers can get the best of this. I'm trying to do 2 or 3 super upload days where I upload more than 3 videos. Today, I'm doing where Cruz had a protester try to attack him. We know this is all set up by the Democrats, by the bankers, and everything else. It's all staged. They might even meet with the people beforehand to even, go about this. I don't know what the rules and regs are around this, but about a year or two back, I did, I did a piece on, what was it? Something about the crowd companies and the rally companies basically getting bodies that do stuff like this, and how it makes it look like it's random, but it's just like companies that basically do where they support or they renounce certain things and they get paid crap loads of money. Well, no doubt a few of those are probably in the background for these sorts of things. So I'm getting this from Fox News Insider, but I saw several other sources. Protesters went up on stage next to Senator Ted Cruz at a Second Amendment rally in New Hampshire. Men were apparently objecting to Cruz's position on gun rights. Happening Now also reported this. Reporters at the rally quickly pointed out on social media how easily the men were able to get to the senator. So this was actually something that's kind of bad, folks. I'm opening Happening Now, and I'm waiting for this. But maybe at some point, folks, during all these presidential campaigns, the Secret Service needs to protect all the major candidates, all the top 3 or top 4 people. What would really be funny is to see that libertarian guy with the hat on his head, or the boot on his head, get SS protection. I think that'd be funny. I really kind of wanted to vote for that guy too, but unfortunately the ticket was split between the Republican and the Democrats, so I was not able to vote third party, which I thought was even more fraudulent. But it is unfortunate. But he's made a lot of votes. I think he even won part of a primary, and I forget what it was. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this actually happened. Cruz is starting to get quote-unquote attacked. In other words, the people who set up the protests for the Chicago rallies for Trump, a.k.a. the people who are probably pulling the strings to get these guys elected, are sending up random quote-unquote protesters and various other things from these crowd control companies and various other sources. I actually thought about doing one of these companies. These companies would make crap loads of money. They benefit every community they go into, depending on whether or not they're pro or against certain things. You'd only need warehouses full of goodies. And really, it would be almost nothing to do these companies. And then, if somebody like a political party came to you and said, we have this social gathering and we need, a crowd of 1,500 to 2,000 people, you go out and you get, 10, 20 people that want 10, 20 bucks an hour. And for 2 or 3 hours, that's what you do. You pay them, to put up signs and maybe even hand them all the gear up front. Or do this kind of thing. Now, I make it sound sad, and I know I should be saying, oh my God, they're attacking Cruz, how dare they? But see, I'm an educated Christian. I'm an educated-minded person. I know this was set up from the beginning. Because I don't have the money to follow these idiots around and go, how dare you do this in my backyard? So if I'm not the best representative of America, but if I barely have money to vote for these guys and want to know whether or not they're willing to be supported and what they're going to do for me and my family, which none of them are going to do jack, how do all these guys do it? Well, they've been called on it. They're professional protesters. They're all part of various companies. Move.org, I think, was mentioned once, and various others. And these are real companies that really get paid crap loads of money, especially in government contracts, to go pro or against something. And so they're using these guys all around the world, and nobody knows it. They think that these people are really doing this. You know what, though? For the most part, it could be actual people doing it, too. But the big crowds and stuff, if you've ever tried to organize any of that, you don't get any major crowds without some kind of money behind it. So, it's actually kind of funny, folks. But anyways, Dems are starting to attack Cruz, and yes, I do believe most of the protests and everything are set up by the Democrats against the Republicans trying to shut them down and this and that, but in the end, it's a little bit of both, folks, but I guarantee if this guy wasn't vetted, he'd have a 45 to the back of his head and he'd be walked off stage. If you got this close to a U.S. Senator, this close to a presidential candidate. So, I highly doubt that Cruz would have been this calm, if they weren't taught how to do this and stuff in the background. Me, for one, I'd have kicked him off stage and been like, America! But with, it being you running for a candidate's office, you couldn't have done that. Then you would have been kind of looked at as a dictator. Trump would have done it. Hillary would have done it. This is Sparta! This is America! Oh, I'd have got physical with a protester. I'm good with it. All right. Thank you, guys.